what's up? This is Sifu Kuttel, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do a technique that I used in a cutting demonstration with this sword. This is the Hidden Hilt Bao by LK Chen. It's the Dragon Sparrow on the pommel. You can see it's a really beautiful sword, and it is a great cutter. Now, this technique is pretty fancy. We're going to be doing a turnaround, a jump, a spin, and an upward-outward cut. So before you grab a sword, I highly suggest that you just use a stick to get the motions down. Now, you can do this with any kind of broadsword. Just a single-edged sword works best for this. It can be something like this, or it can be a more modern sword. That's up to you. But go ahead, grab a stick, grab your sword, and let's get to work. Okay, so to demonstrate, I am going to use a stick because I highly encourage that you use this in the beginning before you actually use something with an edge. Whether it's a blunted edge or a live edge, you should always start with a stick just to get the motions down. One less thing to worry about, okay? Now, the first thing we're going to do is just one thing I like to call a propeller spin. Now, this is quite simple. We're going to turn our palm up. So if I have the stick in my right hand, I'm holding it out to my right side, and I'm going to turn my palm up and let the tip of the stick point downward. So it just drops forward and it points down. I'm pinching between my index finger and my thumb. These are the only two that are really working here. And we can easily do this with a stick. Don't do it with a sword, okay? Now, continue this momentum. It's going to start swinging behind the body. Notice right here, I just relax the hand and the wrist and let it go behind the body. Now, once you're comfortable with that, let it continue over. Notice I have to roll my hand here. So now I go from palm down to, or palm up to palm down. Okay, so again, I just let it roll palm up to palm down, and then I reset to the center position. So just do a single roll like this. When you can do this comfortably and without having to think about it, try doing a couple in a row. And then you can start adding some speed, and you feel where you kind of have to add a little bit of extra power with the hand. Okay, it's not just I'm emphasizing what I'm saying. When we're rolling the hand over, this is where you put some power into it. Okay, so emphasize what you're saying. Now, when you can do this fast and comfortable, put more of a grip on there. When we're using a sword, you don't want to let your hand be this open. If you hit something, or if your opponent tries to hit your sword, it's out of your hand, it's gone. So we want to keep our hand on it. We want to keep our grip more firm on this. Fingers still rest on the sword, and I have more of a grip with the index finger and the middle finger. You can have some allowance with the pinky and the ring finger here to allow it to move a little bit faster, but we're more or less just gonna, you more or less want to make sure that you have that grip cinched up on the top. Now let's focus on the cut itself. This is an upward-outward cut. So if I have the sword in my right hand, I start all the way on my left hip. Think of like you're unsheathing a sword, and you're going to come up to the right. Now, when we're done with this cut, notice the tip of the sword points down. I don't want to do any extra articulation here, and I definitely don't want to let my hand flip over. Okay, you want to keep a very rigid grip on this one. So think of almost having like a 90-degree angle from the weapon to your arm. And we're just going to raise up and out to the side. Okay, big swing here. Now I am going to start in front of my body. I'm looking towards my right, and I'm going to cut upward towards the right. If I'm right here, I cut upward and across. Tip of the weapon points forward. I need to have something between me and my opponent. Just in case I miss the cut, I can now follow up with something else, and I have my weapon in front of me. Okay, do not let the hand slip all the way through. Okay, now the other thing is keep your elbow slightly bent. Don't lock it out. You don't want to end up hurting your own elbow. If I want the tip of the sword to come up, I just raise my arm up. Okay, so we bring this in front of the body, come up and out to the side. Again, in front of the body, out to the side, in front of the body, or like from the opposite shoulder, up and out. Once you have this down, we can start doing the footwork and then tying everything together. All right, so now let's look at this in just the single technique as application, just practical application. So I can use this to advance towards my opponent. Now for the most cutting power, we're going to bring the hand back and then step forward and a nice big swing forward. Okay, so again, bringing the blade back, step, and cut. Now, of course, once I bring my blade back, there's nothing between me and my opponent. I'm a little bit vulnerable. So this is a sacrifice that we make for cutting power. So it's a timing issue here. Or you can use this to follow up from a cut that comes down low. We can come back up, okay? You can still use this with a small circle. So to get power, we use this advancing step, and we have a little bit of hinging, pressing, snapping motion here, okay, with the wrist. So we can use this in a very small circle advance, but if we're really looking for that cutting power, we are going to have to make some room so we get some momentum. Now, we typically, for this technique, we actually move back. So if the opponent is charging in on me, coming up over the top, I'm going to get some space, move my upper body out of the way, and then I can use this as a defensive cut to come up from underneath. Okay, so we're going to take a big step back and into a slanted stance and then cut upward. Now notice I'm tilting my upper body. So if my opponent is trying to attack towards my head, I'm trying to move that as far away as possible away from my opponent. At that same time, I now have opportunities to attack underneath, to attack at the wrist. I can attack towards the torso, and even if I bring that blade up high enough, I can attack towards the head. Now there's an inherent vulnerability here. As I step back, my leg is still out, my front leg is still out. Unfortunately, that's going to stay there. That's part of this technique. I cannot do this and try to pull my leg back and put myself in a weird position. That's when I start twisting. However, there is a little bit of built-in defense here, and that is that the sword is traveling upward. So even though this leg is still out, my opponent has to get through this sword to get to my leg. And once the sword is up, I should have made contact to my opponent. Okay, so let's do this in the defensive style. We're going to take the blade. My blade edge right now, we'll just keep it pointing back, make it really simple. Step, shift, and cut. Again, bring it over, step, shift, and cut. Now at the same time, we're going to take our hand and we're going to block up high, just as an added protection. Okay, so as I come back here, I'm going to raise my hand up and press out. Now you can think of this as opposites. They never cross the same path. One hand goes down, one hand comes up. They're moving in the same circular direction. It's just that I'm going to start with my left hand at my right elbow. So it's in between the sword and my hand. And then as I step out, I bring the hand up. Again, they never cross paths. The last thing you want to do is have to you end up cutting your own arm or try to have to move around it. Okay, now let's apply the spin. So we're going to keep this really simple again. We're going to just let the hand spin the blade, step back, and cut. Again, spin the blade. It's right in front of my body. It's flat, it's parallel. And then I step away and cut. Okay, so again, spin, step back, and cut. Now I want to change it up just a little bit. I'm going to face away from my opponent as I let it spin. Just one, it goes all the way down, all the way back up. Step and cut. Again, spin, step, cut. Spin, step, cut. Now we have to add the jump. So as the spin comes down, I go right foot comes up, hop, then I switch. We have the up position, left foot steps back, and I finish the cut. Okay, so again, point it down as you start raising up, hop as it comes up, step back, and finish. First part is fast. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the second part, we can hit that stance and then finish with the cut. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, 3. In a practical application, it would have to be very, very specific. This is just more or less a fancy way to get to this position. But if you had to really, really drive something out of it, we can find maybe one context that maybe I've connected with my opponent, they push my blade back, and now they're going to attack. I need to control the blade, get underneath, and then get my footing so that I can counter. But that's like such a small percentage that you're ever going to run into anything close to that. That it's more something good for your training and something good for your dexterity and coordination, okay? When it comes down to cutting with that, you'll have to place yourself fairly close to your target so that when you turn around, you can still cut through. Other than that, make sure you guys practice safely and have fun. Okay, so there you have it. It's actually quite a simple technique once you understand the steps and after you take things apart and work on them in their independent components. Now, this technique actually comes from the Choi Li Fut broadsword form, left and right, 8 trigram sword, or the Zhou Yao Bakwa Dan Dou. So you can actually learn a little bit of Choi Li Fut in this. In this video, I used the Dragon Sparrow Hidden Hilt Dao. This is by LK Chen. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to pick up something like this yourself. It's an excellent cutter, and you can do it with more than just this technique. All right, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.